My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty.
Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love of Life Energy. And today I'm humbled and I'm touched. I have Nina Lockwood with me today. Welcome, Nina.
Thank you. It's going to be one of those calls, I think.
So Nina and I went through Michael Neal's Super Coach Academy, and we were in a 2-year program together. And in the last several months, we've reconnected, and she had me on her podcast, and I wanted to invite her back on mine because I'm so touched by who you are and what you're up to in life. And Nina just wrote a book called The Happiness Handbook. And that's what I experience with Nina is I do experience my happiness when I'm with you.
Oh my gosh, that is the sweetest thing. I wish I could give you a kiss. I guess.
Yeah, but that's what, and I'd like to say it's you, and it is you, but it's your energy and what you embody. But when I'm with you, I experience my happiness.
Mm-hmm. There is such a thing as emotional contagion. And it appears to come through electronic devices like Zoom calls.
Really, that's interesting. Say more about that.
Well, I think you basically did. It's when somebody is feeling a certain emotion, it can be contagious. And we all know what it's like when people are really cranky and angry. It's that you start to feel it and you feel like, the hair on your head your skin starts to prickle and rise up. But when people are happy, it feels good. And you want to get on that train too.
So why did you write the Happiness Handbook? What was the intention?
That's a great question. And I think I can give you one answer for it.
Give me 3.
Oh, I'll do my best. So I have just, in the last couple years especially, I have been really interested in this idea of happiness and what does it mean to really be happy beyond chasing achievements and buying stuff and all the things that are temporarily very satisfying. Or we can say, yes, I love that coat. I've had it for 20 years, but it's not the fulfilling kind. It's not like, oh yeah, this gives my life meaning and purpose. No, it just feels good to wear it. But I wanted to explore it more for myself. And I think from the time I was a little girl that I always found certain things that would bring me joy. And I think I was kind of a black sheep as a result of that, but it didn't stop me, apparently. And I've found, especially now, these days, when I'm coaching people or I'm working with people in one capacity or another, so many of us are freaked out by what's going on in the world, and that it brings it back to us like, okay, well, what's going to happen to me? And all the things that we normally put our money on seems to have evaporated. So it was an exploration for a good while of what's happiness and where does it come from and how do you keep it? And I really found that the things that are transformative are being able to cultivate joy and awe and wonder and curiosity. So that's why I wrote it, and actually came out pretty quick. It was like a fast labor or something. Boom.
It's here. And what have you learned for yourself in this exploration? It's such a great question. Not mine, but yours.
That I've learned that we can connect to it, to joy or happiness, even when things go wrong. And so happiness is not, is the way I'm experiencing it. Happiness is not just when everything is going smoothly and I'm getting what I want and life seems pretty good, but it's more, it's happiness is like this big umbrella term for well-being, for groundedness, for knowing that I'm okay in the deepest sense of being, even when things around me are going to hell in a handbasket.
There's something so when you said it, I could feel your knowing of it, that I'm okay in the deepest sense of my being, even though things around me are going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. I'm sure you've had that experience too.
Yes, but I didn't write a book about it.
Maybe it's your turn next.
No, but I, when you said it, I can feel the peace that you feel. And that's what looks like, since I've known you, that's what seems to have shifted in you.
Mm, I think you're right. I think you're right. And one of the things that has surprised me actually in this investigation, if I want to call it that, is that I used to believe that if there was some drama going on emotionally for me that was triggered from something out there, that I had to go with the drama and that I couldn't get out of it until the winds shifted, you know. But the more I started to explore this question about what is this thing called happiness, could be a song, couldn't it? That it's possible to step out of that drama and say, no, that's that's not who I am. That's not what I want. I'm going to put my attention here. And I will look for things that will shift my state, if you want to call it that. And it could be anything. It could be seeing the daffodils bloom after a really long winter, or hearing my cat purring, or seeing something really simple, that seeing the sunlight on water, or you know, any number of things. And that
I
does it.
um, when you're speaking, what I'm sensing is that there's I don't know if this is going to be the right words, but there's a depth of presence that is being cultivated in your exploration. Is that true?
I'm not sure if I would have used those words, but probably.
I
I think
mean,
it would happen for anybody if they started saying, okay, I want to feel like I'm okay no matter what. And I realize there are some extremes that could certainly test that desire. But at the same time, just to be able to go through your day and be able to pick yourself up when you've had 3 weeks of tech problems, or you know, someone you love has passed, or things happen in the political world that are not what I would have chosen, that you can still find that life is good, and that you can still, and maybe this is an important element to it, is there's so much darkness in the world that, to me, that's an invitation to be light, to be the light.
mm,
That, to me, you know, that old story about the girl on the beach throwing starfish back into the water?
Yeah, but for the people who don't know that story,
Yes.
go all the way.
I'll do my best. So there is a story about this man walking along the beach. He comes upon this woman who is picking up starfish at the edge of the water and throwing them back in. And there's a lot of starfish on the sand. They're beached. And she's picking them up, and he said to her, "Doesn't this seem like a lost cause? I mean, does it really matter what you're doing?" And as she's picking up the next starfish, she says, "Well, it matters to this one," and tosses it back out into the water.
Oh, that's so funny.
Right?
My God. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I love that you said you took this on as an exploration. And it in an exploration, you see things, and you said, you know, it comes from joy, awe, wonder, and curiosity. And I'm wondering what you've seen about awe.
Oh, gee. What a great question. Well, I'll tell you, one of the books that recently has had a huge impact on me is a book by that name, Awe, Everyday Wonder, by a uh, UCal Berkeley professor named Dacher Keltner, Keltner. And he talks about how we are hardwired for awe. And I thought, okay, I want to know more about that from his perspective. And his whole career has been understanding emotions and the power. Somebody actually just developed an app that you can get if you have a smartphone that measures how many oxytocin hits you have every day. So for
Wow.
people who don't know what that is, it's one of those feel-good neurochemicals in your body, like serotonin. And so this thing actually measures how many of those hits you get. So if you're at all addicted to social media and getting hits from swiping, what if you got your good feelings from noting that today you had 20 hits of oxytocin that made you feel good? I mean, that sounds crazy, but wonderful to me. Because then it's like
I
steps. How many steps did you do today?
what I wonder, and I'm so curious about, especially with the phone, if the oxytocin, when you started talking about the tulips and the sun hitting and the sunlight hitting the water and your cat purring, it had a very there was a aliveness in the quality of it. All those things were alive. And I'm wondering and that's with the presence, like the awe is being connected to the aliveness of life.
Yes, absolutely. So the hits are just, the oxytocin hits are just like, yeah, see, I knew anyway.
Na 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 na, I told you so.
Something like that. So, I think what's actually kind of funny is how so much of what we're being told is finally being revealed in science is stuff we've already known intuitively. We know it in our gut already. But for those people who are very left-brained, it's really good because they say, oh, okay, science verifies this. But when you're coming from that place of just being alive, you already know.
Oh, wow. It's so funny. What I just felt when you said that, Nina, is life knows life.
That is so true, Anna. It does. And we just have to know life.
Which we are, you and I are.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious. Um, your whole project started out with curiosity and wonder.
Yeah.
Like that's how this project came into being, or this book came into being. And what have you seen more about or new about curiosity and wonder, and how has it impacted your life?
It has given me a different way of looking at situations. So instead of having a ready-made opinion pop up when situation A happens and normally would drive me berserk, I can instead say, wow, that's really interesting. And not have the same emotional rush of either criticism or judgment or defensiveness or something that would be in opposition to the situation. You could just say, wow, that's interesting. And I don't feel as much, not always, but I don't feel as much of a need to react. And so I think, and this is the first time I'm making this connection, which could be totally erroneous, but I'll see how it goes, is that being able to have that space between how my ego, if you will, would react makes so many more possibilities available. And it changes, it changes me. I don't have to be the person who responds X. It's like it expands the possibilities of who I am, or maybe it reveals it. That might be a more accurate way to put it.
So interesting. When you were speaking, like three different things popped into my head. One was the retraining of your automatic response.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like becoming a new habit. And then like you have a new habit of looking at things as interesting or neutrally.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, or that curiosity, because you're looking at curious, it becomes neutral. And then there's different ways to just see it for what it is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know if but that's.
Yes, it is a retraining. That's a good way to put it. It's also a revealing.
Say more
Because
about that. That's
if I'm not the person who is automatically triggered when my husband says X, who am I? You know what I mean? It expands I'm not just this, cranky person that doesn't like to hear something, but I can be neutral. I can say, really, that's interesting about me, and that's interesting about him. And if I'm not being rigid about how I think it should go, it somehow frees up the situation. It's less likely to cause a problem somewhere, or someone saying something unkind to one another, or making a judgment and being huffy and walking away. But it begins to show other aspects, and it's almost like a mirror when I say, oh, that's interesting. That's really curious. I wonder about that.
You just said something that I'm deeply interested in. It's the who am I?
Mm.
Do you know Sri Ramana?
Oh, yes. Ramana Maharshi.
And when you said that, I could hear his words. I don't know if you want to in fact, I'm going to get emotional.
It is an emotional question. Who am I?
But who's the I that sees?
And who's the I that's asking?
What have you seen about that? What do you?
I have to say that I am less in need of wanting to hear what the sages say about who we are and just live. Because for decades and decades of my life, I was studying the spiritual traditions. And I think right after my father died, when I was 15, I started taking yoga classes and reading books on Eastern religions. And so the questions of who am I? And was it Tolstoy who asked that question, how then shall we live? That has always been of interest to me. And I think it's made me less, as much as I love the world, I feel less attached to it. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
It
somehow
does.
it is.
I study this thing called the Gene Keys, and they have this thing called the Ring of Seeking. And it's what drives us back to see that we're life. I am this life that I seek.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing you say is, I know that I'm life. I am something bigger than me.
Yes.
I am this, but I'm something bigger, and I don't need to seek, and I don't need to improve it or make it something that it's not.
Yeah. And there's such, that doesn't mean that I don't still look at things or listen to things or read things that have been spoken by wise people, but I don't feel the need anymore to, it doesn't feel like a need. It feels more like, yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So I don't have to keep asking, why is this happening? As much as I'm saying, wow, this is happening.
That's it. There's the powerful observer,
Yeah.
and that changes the game.
If we know, and I don't always know this, so that's my disclaimer. I'm far from there, but if we know that we are intimately a reflection of consciousness, if you will, and that most of what we're seeing is not real to begin with, if you understand the nature of our sensory apparatus and how the mind filters everything that we see, hear, feel, do, it's like you were talking about earlier, it's like a game. We don't have to take it so seriously. We can even have a little sense of humor about it.
I think that's it, is that, well, then I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Comes back to your happiness handbook.
Well, what you're saying, I think, points to something profound, which is we have the capacity to weather the storms because we do have that innate sense of okayness. If we're a part of everything, and you can't separate anything from its context, right? So that means we're connected to everything, is that we're okay. This is an amazing expression of life, as you are an amazing expression of life, as our cats, dogs, friends, our cakes, everything is this is it. It's coming through. How incredible.
There's what I'm experiencing as I'm speaking with you, Nina, is a reverence for life, just a reverence for it, not just a reverence for it, and an enjoyment of it.
I think you have that very same thing. Is that, they say it takes one to know one.
Yeah, I think that's it. We're all reflections. And I guess what I'm saying is that I was saying this at the beginning, and then I said we have to hit record. It's the beauty of sitting with somebody, and sitting with somebody like you. I'm reminded of who I am and what's possible.
Well, that's quite a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's what we can offer each other.
Yeah.
Like you're not intentionally saying you're not saying, Anna Scott, you need to revere life and here's the 6 ways to be happy. You're the embodiment of it. And then I get to experience it in your presence, my reverence and my happiness, just by you being you.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, right? Being the light. We have a choice. We can be the light, or we can be the darkness, or some variation of it, some degree of it. But most of the time, unless we're caught up in our craziness, we choose light, right?
Yeah.
Smile from the checkout person, somebody doing a kindness. That kind of stuff makes me practically weep now. I mean, it just seems so precious. Maybe because the contrast in the world now is so stark. But little things, it's like, oh my gosh, people are good. And as Dacher Keltner would say, he wrote a book about this called Born to Be Good. It's hardwired into us. It's just the conditioning that happens to us that we lose touch with it until we get to sit with someone like you. And then the conversation emerges and evolves, and there we are, right where we wanted to be.
Yeah, and it's all inside of us.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. I have a question. What were you most surprised about in your exploration?
Good question. I think it was how remarkably simple it is to go from kind of normal, everyday, seeing things and having some opinion about them, to realizing that that joy could be cultivated and much more easily than I thought. I definitely was a person that felt like once I was in a bad feeling, I was pretty much stuck until something would save me. But there, oddly enough, there's something in me that is saving me.
And it's me.
It is me. It's so funny.
That's such good news. So it's so cheap.
Right. That saying, nobody's coming to save you, used to be, made me nervous when I heard that. It's like, oh no, I'm stuck with myself. And then the more I've learned that there's a possibility that there is something inside me that will save me, it's like, okay, fine.
It's me.
Yeah.
I had this experience. I don't know why I'm going to share this, but I want to because of what you're saying. I was doing this psychic class and I was reading somebody's 4th layer of their aura, blah, blah, blah. And really, I'm seeing myself and I couldn't see it. And then finally, I saw that I walked into this vault and there was these rooms of jewels and blah, blah, blah. And then I went into this room, a huge room of all the people I loved and all the places and animals and things I loved. And then I walked into a room of mirrors and I realized I loved me. And it's to that, like, oh, I love this. I love this being, who I am.
Yeah.
And that's what you're pointing to in my mind.
That's so powerful, what you just said. Because it's not egoic. It's not like, oh, I love my hair, or I love my glasses, or, I love that I can do this or that. It's that essential thing in you.
Mm-hmm. That's when you said, who's the I actually, that's what I was feeling. And that's why it touched me. It's that essential nature of who we are, that goodness.
Yeah.
That love. I don't know if it's goodness, love, the kindness, the smile, whatever, the purr.
Don't you wish you could put it in a wand or a something, and you could just, if somebody wasn't picking it up from you, if you weren't in your vibe, that you could just go up and go ding and touch them with it and they would get it.
Well, I'm going to say, Nina, when you are not like we all are, this is the beauty. You are the wand.
Yes, but my light isn't always on.
I know, but
And
that's
then
okay too.
see if we could put it in a wand, then when we were in a bad mood, we could just do it to ours.
So,
But that's when I go back to the cat or the flowers or the sunlight or the birds singing or
and I'm learning to love my bad moods.
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's just all part of life, right?
Yeah.
Even when it feels horrible, it's like, oh wow, that's really something.
This too.
This too.
And we're coming to the end of our time, which I can't believe it. It's been a blink of an eye. Where do people find you? How do they connect with you?
That is a great question since my tech stuff is going crazy right now. But I'm on YouTube and I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook for the time being. And they can find me on Amazon. That's where my little
I was
pocket
going to make
guide
sure
is. Yep.
the Happiness Handbook, and we'll put a link to this in the podcast.
Right.
So we encourage you to purchase the book.
If you feel so moved. And also, I just remembered they can always email me, nina@ninalockwood.com, because soon my website will be back up and running.
Great.
And I have a podcast or two humming
Yeah.
around on YouTube.
Nina, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Oh, always a treat. I am going to come over there someday and we're going to go for a walk, even though
I
you're
know.
3,000 miles away.
I don't know. I might beat you to it. All right.
Okay.
All right, sweetie. So much love. Thank you.
You too.